Friday, November 20th, talking all things NFL, starting with a Thursday night football reaction. The Seattle Seahawks 28, the Arizona Cardinals 21. The Seahawks, for now, take first place in the NFC West. Seth, your thoughts on Thursday night football?
Well, I think it's funny what's happening to Russell Wilson, specifically in the division. So we saw him play very poorly against the Rams, but I think their defense sets up nicely for him to not play well. That's a weird sentence, but for him to not play well. With the Cardinals, the funny thing is they do a good job of forcing Russell Wilson off his first read, off his second read, off his third read. They just can't get to him. So all of a sudden now you see this Russell Wilson magic. The past two times they played, a lot of these plays are happening when he breaks contain. I know that's Russell Wilson thing, but especially against the Cardinals, where they're actually doing a good job in pass coverage. And then Russell does his thing and makes plays down the field, outside of contain, that type of thing. So it's like an interesting thing because I just don't think they match up well with the Seahawks, like the Seahawks offense versus Cardinals defense. And it might just give them the division, this win.
Yeah, for me, I mean, last Friday, I made the scolding hot take that Kyler Murray was going to produce at that MVP level in the second half of the season. They're going to make the championship game. I kind of want to back away from that because I think Russell Wilson right now kind of solidified he's a front runner in the MVP race. And, you can talk about the last two games before this Arizona win. They were not good at all whatsoever. But you're looking at the other MVP candidates, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They've all had really bad games this year. It's just recency bias. This past game, he had a 96.3 adjusted completion percentage. That's the second best we've seen from a quarterback this season, behind only Russell Wilson in week 1 against the Falcons. So I think right now, after that 90.9 passing grade, I think we have to call him the MVP frontrunner. I think Kyler Murray's going to get there. I had higher hopes for him in this game. Very kind of disappointed in that performance. And it was kind of weird because we were talking about all the bad mistakes he was making outside of the pocket last week. And then here we are. And that's where he found his success last night. A couple of big time throws on such plays. But yeah, Russell Wilson, front runner for MVP at this moment. Look beyond those two games leading up to this one.
Now you're getting caught up in the moment and the recency bias, Tresh. Now look, I think
fair.
The biggest thing with Russ is, in his previous years, he'd always had 1 or 2 or 3 really bad games. I think these just happened to be back-to-back games. It just happened to be against Buffalo and against the Rams. So it wasn't going to be a trend. I expected him to bounce back. I love the way he did it, too. I love that you cited the adjusted completion percentage, Tresh. He missed 1 throw the entire game. He played a clean game. Seth, you mentioned Arizona's taken away his first reads. He played a patient game. He found guys beyond the sticks when he needed to. And I thought it was an excellent job by Seattle just getting back on track. And I was impressed with Seattle's defense as well. I've got some massive question marks about them. I have some question marks about what they're doing with Jamal Adams, trying to make him fit into their scheme and into their system. But they did step up and made some big plays. Carlos Dunlap with the game-ending sack. So I like the way Seattle's at least trending defensively off of that game. I'm not going to get too crazy with it. They still have some things to shore up, but I think it showed Seattle still the class of that division, even though it is a tough NFC West. All right, so we've got some big news here. This weekend, poor little Drew Brees. He's hurt. He's banged up. He took a massive hit a couple weeks ago. Everybody was expecting to see Jameis Winston starting against the Falcons, but it's officially Taysom Hill getting the start. The quarterback / H-back / punt protector. He's doing it all. But he's doing the quarterback thing this weekend. Seth, what do we expect from Taysom?
Well, I'll start with talking about Jameis for a second, because if you remember last season when Brees got injured and Teddy B came in against the Rams, not a great afternoon for Teddy in Los Angeles. And then, has an actual week to prepare, and he does play a little better. I mean, look, he wasn't a great quarterback, but they obviously won every game that he was starting, so it worked out for the Saints. So I thought that was what we were going to see again this year, where Jameis comes in against the 49ers, was terrible, was absolutely terrible. Should have thrown an interception right through Jimmy Ward's hands. Inaccuracy, in the red zone, just not very good. Thought they would give him a week of practice, have him come in, it's okay. That's not what's happening. Taysom Hill's going to be the starter, supposedly. I don't think this is a bad move because eventually you got to figure out what's going on with Taysom Hill. Like eventually you have to say this is our guy or this is not our guy at the quarterback position because we are paying him a lot of money to do just that. You know, comparing him to Jameis, we know about Jameis, and if he's going to produce those same results, and again, it was just a half against the 49ers, but if he's going to produce that type of quarterback play, that's the same Jameis we've seen for 4 years in the NFL. So at least let's see what's going on with Taysom Hill. And you can run a different offense. You can hopefully catch them in a lot of cover zeros and throw the ball over their head like Taysom did in his one throw against the 49ers last week. They do run the ball really well with him as at quarterback. He has some fumbling issues trying to run like mesh to the zone read, but hopefully they fix that up. And I think at least let's see what we have. They've banked up quite a few wins. Obviously, you need to be the number 1 seed, but they only have 2 losses. They have, 4 or 5 wins in a row. I think let's just wait and see what's going on with Taysom. I think it's not a bad move.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Seth, because, I mean, this man has not attempted more than 3 passes in an NFL regular season game in his entire career.
And he won't this week either.
That's the problem. I don't care how bad the Falcons defense has been. I'm very concerned about that. We were talking about this before. That number 1 seed is going to be very important this season, and they have a chance to do it. And I think Jameis Winston gives them the best chance to do that. And yeah, I mean, we all know Jameis Winston, the 30 for 30 season. I mean, he's thrown some horrible picks, absolutely horrible, but still that high-end play. He's brought that high-end play every once in a while. Sometimes he looks like the worst quarterback in the NFL. Sometimes he looks like the best quarterback in the NFL. That's why he was top 3 in both positively graded and negatively graded throw rate last season. So I think you just got to roll the dice with Jameis Winston, hope you get that high-end play. Because I think even against this bad Falcons defense, he would take advantage of it more than a guy like Taysom Hill would. I hope Taysom kind of succeeds, but I'm not a big fan of this move. I'm not really expecting a whole much from Taysom Hill, the versatile Taysom Hill, that is.
And there's a lot to unpack with this thing. Tresh, you're right. Jameis is the most volatile quarterback of our era. And not only was he top 3 or top 5 in positives and negatives by PFF grades, I mean, that's pretty much every year of his career. But I think that brings the upside, potentially, if it was Jameis starting, to the Saints offense. They could dust off the rest of that playbook that they haven't been able to unload with Drew Brees this year. I thought Jameis being out there with the healthy playmakers, with Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Kamara underneath, he had the weapons to maybe put up some points, to drive the ball down the field, to put up 40 points in any given week. I think Jameis gives them that opportunity. Obviously, Sean Payton does not agree. He wants to see what he can get out of Taysom Hill. I cannot wait to see what the offense looks like. Well, I think it's a little vision to the future of what Sean Payton might want to do in the NFL, right? Belichick's had to move on from Brady. Peyton's going to have to move on from Breeze. You're never going to replace those style quarterbacks today. So what do? You get a run threat. You get somebody that you can keep defenses off balance with in a different way. So I can't wait to see what they do with Taysom. And I'll say this, the last time he actually played quarterback was the 2019 preseason. He had an 87 grade. It was the preseason of 2019, but it was the last time we saw extended play of him drive after drive playing quarterback. And I was actually impressed with his ability to distribute the ball. It's easier to judge him on those snaps, I think, than maybe the 1 or 2 throws he has per week in a, trick play type of situation. So I think there's some potential here for Taysom, but I was really tempted to see what they could have done with Jameis throwing the ball down the field. Seth, it was the right move for Taysom? You agree?
Well, no, I was just going to add, Sean Payton's already running the ball pretty much every first down this season. So he's like, well, now I just have an extra player, an extra runner on the field when I do it. So I think it works out for Payton pretty well.
Changing the offensive arithmetic in the box with Taysom running the ball. So let's wrap it up with this. The Las Vegas Raiders. It's Vegas. They're trying to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs for the second time this season. But the entire defense is in COVID protocol. That's exactly what you want when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Vegas, the Raiders, they're at home. It's Sunday Night Football, but do they have a shot to upset the Chiefs once again?
So when you look at what happened in the first game that they played, the Raiders tried to bully ball the Chiefs a little bit, and it really worked. And it was actually when they kind of started spreading it out, they were able to have success, and they put up a lot of points doing so. So I wonder, with all those players out on defense, if they're going to say, "Oh, whoa, we can't have Patrick Mahomes have the football for the whole game. Let's try bully ball them again, and shorten the game." I don't know if it didn't really work the first time, and that's not really the recipe for success against the Chiefs. And you got to go score with them like they ended up doing in that first game. So I hope it doesn't really change necessarily the game plan and think, oh no, well, we don't have a defense anymore, so we just got to slow the game down. I think they got to go throw with them because now look, the Chiefs are going to score points. They did in the first game, even though they lost. So and now, I mean, without half the defense playing for the Raiders, like they will score again. So you got to go throw with them. You can't try and play fullbacks and tight ends, stuff like that. You got to spread them out. You got to throw it on them, and you got to hope that Derek Carr has one of his, really good games from the few he has in a season. I hope it's this week, really.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a absolute 0% chance the Las Vegas Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs. That game was very interesting earlier in the year. I don't think there's any chance they could beat them twice in a season. I mean, Derek Carr actually hit throws down the football field. We all heard John Gruden's comment after the game. We love to hear that. We love to see him actually throw the football down the field. But I think it was you, Steve, that said that was kind of a Texas Tech type of performance from Patrick Mahomes. I don't think we're going to see that again. I mean, kind of in that New England game, I think it was kind of different for him. He still graded out very well in that Las Vegas game because he still had a lot of exceptional big-time throws. But I think we've been seeing a little bit more of that MVP, Patrick Mahomes, as of late. I think he's going to put up that type of performance, and especially when you consider the fact, even if the defense wasn't in COVID protocol like it is, I think it would still be a 100% chance the Chiefs are going to, I mean, anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett said after he won the finals, but still, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm rolling with that. I can't see the Las Vegas Raiders pulling this one out.
Yeah, there's essentially two things that happened in that first game that both of you guys touched on that will be tough to duplicate. The first one was Derek Carr throwing for 219 yards on deep passes. The Chiefs have only given up 484 on the season, so almost half came in that one game against the Raiders. Now, the Raiders should try. They need to try to stretch the field and get Nelson Aguilar and get Henry Ruggs behind the defense. That is the way to win. But getting back to 219 in those big plays that they created, very difficult. And then the other one was, Mahomes did look a little Texas Tech-y, and he had 4 turnover-worthy plays in that game, only had the 1 actual interception, but the Raiders did a really good job of making him uncomfortable, at least taking away those first and second reads. He threw over 20 passes outside the pocket. That's the most we've seen from any quarterback all season. So that one's going to be tough to duplicate as well. Getting Mahomes to kind of revert back to a little bit more of a high-risk Texas Tech style, which at least gives you a chance defensively to create some turnovers. So I think it's going to be a challenge to make Mahomes uncomfortable and to stretch the field again against this Chiefs defense, but they have to try. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs start to make a real statement that they are the best team in the NFL in the second half here.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.